In addition to the fact that every time we come into this committee, it seems like maybe once every few months, we got to start blaming these government workers for not going to work because they lazy. That's what we hear, is that all of our problems in the world are because of telework. If I had a dime for every time we blamed telework, then I may have enough money to pay Trump's legal fees for his 4 criminal indictments. But nevertheless, what I'd like to make sure that I get admitted into the record, so Madam Chairwoman, I would ask unanimous consent to enter into the record a 2024 white paper from 2024 Brookfield
Without
published.
objection.
Okay, thank you. All right, so there's a couple of things that I want to talk about. Is there a problem as it relates to commercial real estate right now? Yes, there is, and I appreciate your response that you just had about the fact that it's not necessarily the same as 2008. It is nothing like 2008 from everything that I can tell, and that's coming from the business major side of me that is speaking. But I do want us to make sure that we focus on a couple of things that are going on. At one point in time, we used to have a thing called a typewriter, and then we moved on to computers, and then we moved on to computers with the internet. At another point in time, we used to have this thing called a telegram, and then we moved on to landline telephones, and then we moved on to cell phones. And at one point in time, we used to have horse and buggy, and then we moved on to gasoline-operated vehicles, and now we're moving on to e-vehicles. Here is the deal. We have a transitioning workforce. We understand that while a lot of people were not in their offices specifically because of the pandemic, we know that some companies and corporations saw benefits in not being in the building as they had to adjust because of the pandemic, but they found that, you know what, maybe this is where we should develop. And they decided to do that. And I think that that's okay, but we now have to adjust. So I want to talk to you about solutions. I don't want to just say, well, you know, back before the pandemic, everything was great. Back before the pandemic, a lot of people didn't die either. So yes, there's a lot of things that I would prefer did not take place as a result of the pandemic, but I just can't go back. And so I want to talk about solutions because that's what we're supposed to do in Congress. Instead, we play games. But I'm going to be real with you. And I want to ask